Texas was part of the Mexico.The incentive that the Mexican government offered to Anglo American settlers to relocate was hard to resist. New ideas, new jobs, new identities, new starts and new money were all possible on the vast frontier. Fish, game, wildflowers, grains, and cotton abounded. Land, and lots of it. The fact that much of that territory was already inhabited by American Indians, well, that was just going to be ignored. The promise and opportunity of life in Texas vastly outweighed the threats that frontier life might pose. So for a while there, it looked like everybody in the world really was going to Texas. From Louisiana, Alabama, Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky and Missouri, the adventurers packed up their belongings and their newly issued land grant titles and headed toward their futures. We'll go to Texas, too. Despite the hardships and the danger, immigrants from Germany, France, Ireland, Poland, Czechoslovakia, and other countries throughout the world followed the siren call to frontier Texas. These settlers brought their cultures, languages, and worldviews and established communities throughout Texas, many of which still retain a distinct heritage today. From a population of about 20,000 in 1830, Texas grew to over 140,000 hardy frontier settlers by the late 1840s. In 1835, honorary Texas frontiersman Davy Crockett had uttered his famous directive, "You may all go to hell and I will go to Texas." Whether following Crockett's example or following their own dreams, thousands of people did just that. They up and went to Texas. The annexation of Texas, the Mexican-American War, and the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, 1845–1848. During his tenure, U.S. President James K. Polk oversaw the greatest territorial expansion of the United States to date. Polk accomplished this through the annexation of Texas in 1845, the negotiation of the Oregon Treaty with Great Britain in 1846, and the conclusion of the Mexican-American War in 1848, which ended with the signing and ratification of the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo in 1848. The Battle of Veracruz. These events brought within the control of the United States the future states of Texas, California, Nevada, New Mexico, Arizona, Utah, Washington, and Oregon, as well as portions of what would later become Oklahoma, Colorado, Kansas, Wyoming, and Montana. Following Texas' successful War of Independence against Mexico in 1836, President Martin Van Buren refrained from annexing Texas after the Mexicans threatened war. Accordingly, while the United States extended diplomatic recognition to Texas, it took no further action concerning annexation until 1844, when President John Tyler restarted negotiations with the Republic of Texas. His efforts culminated on April 12 in a treaty of annexation, an event that caused Mexico to sever diplomatic relations with the United States. Tyler, however, lacked the votes in the Senate to ratify the treaty, and it was defeated by a wide margin in June. Shortly before he left office, Tyler tried again, this time through a joint resolution of both houses of Congress. With the support of President-elect Polk, Tyler managed to get that joint resolution passed on March 1, 1845, and Texas was admitted into the United States on December 29.